All right, good afternoon. It is Friday, August 22nd. Let's talk about some fun weather headlines here. You start to get to the end of August, and maybe you start to see the end of the hot summer, albeit last couple days been really pushing the envelope, couple 100-degree readings here in central Alabama. But that will be no more, at least as the forecast stands. So we'll see isolated weekend rain chances. We should have a good push of dry air. Models kind of diverge on this agreement here, but it certainly looks like a front's going to try to push through here, and we're going to have at least some lower humidity levels, at least the lowest that we've had in quite some time for several parts of Alabama, primarily north of I-20, but as far south as perhaps the Wiregrass, depending on what model you look at. Cooler temperatures, they look likely, however, the extent of which and how long they last, there's some differences there, but either way, we're going to have some fun tracking this. Also keep an eye on a couple tropical disturbances that are kind of meandering out in the Atlantic as they do so often this time of year. All right, let's go to our temperatures here. We've got a lot of 70s on the eastern side of the state. Can you tell where the rain is? Very concentrated here at 3 o'clock east of I-65. 92 in Birmingham, 90 in Tuscaloosa, 92 in Demopolis, 91 in Monroeville. 85 in Gadsden, 78 in Sylacauga, 79 in Montgomery. So clearly there is a pattern to be seen there. And there's a look at the rain. And again, it's not very abundant, but these are not moving very fast. They're kind of along this stalled boundary here that exists. That's why we're seeing the rain focused really in one part of the state. And that's to the east and that's to the southeast. Here's a look at the stagnant radar here just after 3 o'clock. A line just south of Montgomery, 83 total strikes associated with that little cluster. We also have that rain up near Pell City and Talladega. Further to the south here is where all the action is. The Wiregrass, basically I-65 right along it, and then to the south and east, we got some good thunderstorms across the Wiregrass. But big picture here, northern half of the state looking pretty dry as we roll into the evening hours. So with that in mind, it is Friday Night Football. Let's talk about the next couple of hours, because again, we have the chance for a few isolated thunderstorms here, and it's certainly a possibility that we see rain chances for games here this evening. However, I do not think it'll be a major issue, especially in the northern half of Alabama, so we'll drag this forward to about 8 o'clock, all right? And we still are showing rain in the southern half of Alabama, but everywhere else it's pretty much deteriorated. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s to lower 80s at halftime for games. And then as we roll towards final whistle, best chance of rain is going to be in southwest Alabama, along I-65 and just to the west there, Monroeville, all the way down really towards Mobile and Baldwin County if this model is accurate. But again, it's a high-res model and it's pop-ups in the summertime, so take it for what you will. With that in mind, we'll still show the on Saturday as we kick off the weekend. Quiet to start. You can see that little feature there off to the east, spinning up showers and storms across central and southern Georgia. And you can see where the focal point of the rain is once again going to be in the eastern side of the state. Everywhere has a chance for a pop-up, but rain chances will be greatest to the south and east. And we will see that possible throughout the day. Again, I think they're very hit and miss. I think if you have to get things done outside, there's not an overwhelming rain threat, and these shouldn't be lingering or bringing about too much havoc to your weekend plans. Downpour too, and then moving on. So here, this is a look at the NDFD data. This is a probability over 12 hours, and the highest, of course, extreme eastern Alabama with basically Marengo, Sumter, Pickens, counties all omitted from rain chances on Saturday. That's how tight of a gradient it is. Sunday, same deal. Best chances will be in the eastern half of the state, but even then, they really begin to drop. And how about this? By Monday, no chance of rain. To say that in the summertime, there must be a feature in place, and there certainly is. This is a look at atmospheric moisture, and this is pretty exciting, I think, at least. This is called precipitable water. That's a fancy term for how much water is in the air, how much moisture is present. When we have these really torrential tropical downpours, we typically have higher precipitable water. That means there's a lot of water available to fall within the atmospheric profile. Tons of moisture. So anything that does form, a lot of water will come with it. This also tends to have a bit of a bearing on how it feels outside when you have lower precipitable water values. It typically feels better. So this is the GFS, and it's depicting a little shot of drier air by Monday morning. So this is at 7 o'clock. Again, it's a very small section, and models have gone back and forth. We'll have some drier air. It may not be to this extent of very dry, but nevertheless, something good to see. All right, by Tuesday into Tuesday afternoon, we have a good push of moisture coming in from the west, but then once again, another push of dry air from the Tennessee Valley, the Ohio Valley, and we'll be looking at, again, drier conditions. Ideally, Wednesday would be our best bet. That's the best model agreement as far as the drier air, but man, that would feel wonderful. That'd be dew points in the 50s, and just all that summer humidity gone briefly, and it will be briefly by the end of the week. We'll see those precipitable water numbers come back up, humidity levels coming back up. Here's a look at the GFS model. Same model, just a different data set here, and you can see that rain coming in here on Tuesday, perhaps Wednesday associated with that front. By late in the week, we will see, again, that front pushing to the south, and we should have that cooler air in place. All right, let's take a look at the tropics here, big picture. There's what's left of Aaron. There are a couple areas to watch with respect to potential development. We'll go right to our NHC Outlook map here. Got a 90% chance of development. That'll be our next named storm. That'll be Fernand. And then this out here is yet to be seen if this will develop. That's Invest 99. We'll start with Invest 90. This is going to go basically almost due north towards Bermuda. This will be no threat to the contiguous United States, following the path of Aaron pretty closely, a little further to the east, but going right around that Bermuda High, a big steering feature in the Atlantic this time of year. Whenever you see a tropical wave developing this far south, that's one you have to keep an eye on. You know, some of these that form, a couple degrees latitude further north are too far north. They steer away from the Caribbean and become no threat to us. But when they're down this far south, they bear watching. Now, a lot of the ensembles call for this to move into the southern Caribbean and really kind of fizzle out, moving towards Honduras, Guatemala by the end of next week. Again, a lot of the ensembles do not even place this in the Gulf, but we'll watch it on its current trajectory. Like I said, the next one would be Fernand, and then Gabrielle would be after that. The less names we get to, better. That would be absolutely wonderful if we can't get too much past those. But we're not done with the tropical season yet. Tropical activity, climatology, still not hit its peak yet, so we have lots to watch here, and we will continue to do so vigilantly in the weather office. No concerns in the short term, hoping that dry air makes an appearance as we head into next week. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, everybody. We'll have another update as needed. We will see you on Monday. Have a good one.